This is the NOSTR alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
Oh, for 5 years. 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and Odyssey. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is June the 18th, 2023. This is episode 327 of Workshop Radio. How is everyone out there? In just a minute, we're going to bring someone on who is no stranger to the workshop community at all. Hey, Tag Life Done Free, Byron Roberts, Aaron, good to have all of you. Always good to have you. Nate has to be pretty close to, I got to do the numbers, but he's right up there. One of the top 2 or 3 all-time appearances on the workshop radio so far. So anyway, Sunday night, first off, we cannot forget our sponsor. That is Amy Dingman of A Farmish Kind of Life. If you're looking, she's kind of moved her podcast. She's cut it back to one day a week now, and they're kind of more bite-sized episodes. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, she has this way of telling you the hard truth while smiling and laughing about it in a good way. She has helped me in so many ways. She's been doing this way longer than I have, and just an incredible lady. So check her out at afarmishkindoflife.com or just add A Farmish Kind of Life in any of the podcast feeds that you listen to, and show her some support because she is a part of the workshop community as well. Speaking of extended community, guys, so in 2 weeks, I believe, yes, July 2nd, we are doing a live auction to support Jenny Hill. If you don't know who Jenny Hill is, she is a member, a big member of the Living Free in Tennessee community. I met her in person finally last year at the LFTN Spring Workshop. She's going through some serious health problems right now. She has to take some treatment. She has to go into quarantine for quite some time. And so there's some really incredible people behind the scenes who have put together an auction for her. It's at Jenny Hill, Jenni, Hill.livingfreeintennessee.com. Links in the description. You can go check that out. There is, I put up a set of the workshop silver. We only did 20 of them this year. So one of those is going to the winner in that auction, but it's just one of those things to help support her. Take a minute, check that out, and go from there, guys. Finally, speaking of Nate and Aaron, they were gracious enough to give us a discount code for their Etsy store. They got some pretty cool stuff over there. Some comfrey, some lucky rabbit's feet that wasn't real lucky for the poor rabbits, but they're lucky for you. So anyway, 15% off. Cabot says, is she the massage therapist? She is. Absolutely. Yes. And an awesome lady. She spends her time trying to build other people up, and it's the community's turn to build her up. So, Nate. So check out Nate and Aaron's Etsy store. I've got their 15% off coupon code in the description tonight. And with that, let's bring on the bearded chick. Give me 1 second here. Big Bad Nate, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Not bad at all. You look like a contemporary painter. I get you just the beard and all black, looking pretty sharp.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I'm going to get this out of the way. We're just going to drink a little bit of this.
Sure, you go right ahead. I decided to stick to just caffeine this evening. We've been renovating here, and dust and headaches. Oh, you know how it is. Just one of them things. You know how it is. So it's not usually a Sunday night without bourbon, but I think we're going to forgo it this evening. So how you been, brother?
Pretty good. Keeping busy. Playing around. Spent several hours yesterday playing with some gear and trying some stuff out. We're going to do our field day event coming up here next week. Or next weekend, and I wanted to get down by the pond and test everything out because that's where we usually host it. Nice. So I took our laptop down there, tethered it to my phone, did a 30-minute live stream real quick, played on the radio for, 6 hours or so.
Did you hook your antenna up to a duck or anything like that? Get them to fly up?
No, but I was debating doing maritime mobile in the canoe.
Oh, that would be legal then, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know what? I suppose I just realized there's quite a few names in here this evening that maybe we don't necessarily know or haven't seen as often. But Phil, just give me the elevator pitch of who you and Aaron are and where you come
Sure.
from. Yeah.
Sure. We're Aaron and I. We have a weekly or bi-weekly, depending on if we have enough content. Right now, it's been bi-weekly. We do a podcast. We have a half-acre homestead here in Illinois. I know it's Illinois. We can still do what we want to do here. It is what it is. We are not Chicago. If you look out my back door, we got 400 acres of cornfields, and it's beautiful.
Nice.
We have 2 girls, 10 and 6. We homeschool them as well. I have a 9 to 5 that I do every day, and Aaron's usually here helping the girls out with school and playing around. So
you guys recently, I don't know what the fight would be the right word, but you had you exercised your political rights, hey, over some chickens.
Oh yeah.
How did that go?
It went fine. The first iteration of going to the meeting was a few choice words that I can't repeat here. But all said and done, they wanted to cut our bird, like a number of birds were allowed into down to a third. Get rid of the meat birds and require registration yearly and inspections whenever they wanted. Well, about 40 of us showed up at that meeting, and the following like 4 or 5 meetings, and they realized that it's not in the village's best interest to do that. So
they did away with everything? Just kept it the way it was?
They pretty much dropped it like a bad habit. So
good. One other thing I forgot was Happy Father's Day to you, Nate. And
thank you.
Yeah, to all the other dads out there. I almost forgot. I was like, I had lasagna and I got chocolate cake waiting for me tonight. And it wasn't just because the kids love me. It's because it's Father's Day. So, yeah, Happy Father's Day, brother.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I got a brownie upstairs that I got to eat. We went and got pizza today, and the pizza place had brownies, so I'll have to get that eventually.
Oh, man, I like that. So, all right. When I asked, because I was, 2-3 weeks ago, I was like, Nate, we got to have you on again. It's been a month or 2 since you've been on.
Yep.
And, of course, I'm like, well, we know what we're going to talk about. Ham radio, I'm pretty sure, or comms of some sort. And you said field day was coming up. And I'm like, what the hell is a field day? So what is a field day to start us off?
All right. So field day, it's officially known as the ARRL, the American Radio, or the Amateur Radio Relay League Summer Field Day event. And it's actually an operating event. It's not considered a contest. But the whole point of it is to operate your radios for 24 hours and make as many contacts as you can. That sounds like a contest to me.
Sure. But no prizes, right?
Yeah, there's no prizes other than bragging rights in the ARRL's magazine come October. Oh. That's when they publish all the points.
So you get recognition. So that sounds like a contest. But,
Yep. So it's basically it's a 27-hour period. And it depends on when you start to set up. If you set up on Thursday or Friday, you can only run from 1800 UTC, which is about 1 o'clock Central Time.
Okay.
So we'll make that easy. And you can go till 1 o'clock Central Time on Sunday.
Okay.
So it's a full 24 hours. Now, we started about 10, get the tents up, get the antennas up, plug everything in, and as soon as 1 o'clock hits, we flip the radio on and go. And then we can go until 1 o'clock. But if you wait until 1 o'clock to start setting up, you can go 27 hours. So you have an extra 3 hours.
Okay.
They figure you're going to have a couple hours in there messing around with stuff.
Sure. And so how many hams will you have there?
There are 750,000 hams in the United States at the last count.
Okay.
And I would venture to guess there's probably 200,000 on the bands that day. It is the busiest day of ham radio.
So I'm going to sound simple here, but how does that work without there being interference? Or maybe that's not the right term. You know what I mean?
There is interference.
Okay.
And that's kind of the fun of field day. So field day simulates a grid down situation.
Oh, okay.
You have to run on either generator power or battery / solar power.
Okay.
I run off of solar, or I am going to run off of solar this year, and our club is going to run off of generator.
Okay.
So basically we have no noise floor, so to speak of, because there's no interference from the electrical grid coming into our system.
Oh, okay.
So we hear a lot of things, like a lot of things. I actually heard Germany yesterday on my radio. It was the first time I heard Germany in probably 6 months, and my needle on the radio wasn't even moving.
And what does that mean, your needle?
The S meter.
Oh,
so that tells me how loud it's receiving.
Okay.
So in the house, I sit at like an S3. This was flat at a 0, and I could hear everybody. Like, he wasn't even moving the needle because I had no noise floor down at the pond.
Because you're running off of solar?
Yep, because I'm running off of solar and I'm not hooked into the grid.
So does that mean in a grid down situation that comms would be going a lot further or a lot clearer, perhaps?
You would hear more.
Okay.
Because you don't have the interference.
Okay.
So me being down at the pond, I was at what is known as an S0 noise floor.
Okay.
When I'm at the house, I sit at like an S3 to an S5, which is like half of my, the sweep of the gauge.
Okay.
So it's all the way down here. 3's like here, 5's here, 9's way over here.
And so if you're sitting at a 5, that means you can only go up to 9 to overpower the background noise, or?
Right. I can hear between a 5 and a 9.
Okay.
I'm never going to hear the guys that are the 0 to the 5.
Okay. That makes sense. Sure.
So it's really nice to have a 0 noise floor environment to play with. And I love the pond for that because I get to go play and have fun with that. So
how do you? I'm going to throw this out here. We've got some good comments and questions as we go along. Now, I never asked you this, Nate, but do you want to answer them as we go along? Do you want to chat for a bit and then we can answer them after? What would you like to do?
Let me go through this a little bit, but I'll answer this one. So down at the pond, that's about 100 feet from our door. 100, 200 feet. It's about 5 feet lower from where we're at right now.
Oh, okay.
But it's 100 feet, right out my back door this way, off to the east of us.
And if you have power lines going over, will that cause some issues or no? Yep.
So I have 2 antennas on my property, and they both have different noise floors because one's really close to power lines and one's back on the back of my property.
Okay.
So, but basically, it's the field day event simulates a grid down, but you only get to play on certain bands.
Okay.
Now some of these people, I understand I don't have a lot of ham radio people in here, but this is going to be a little important once we get a little further on when I tell you guys how to listen to this. We can play on 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, 10, 6, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. Those are the bands that we can play on, and some of them are high frequency bands, and some of them are UHF and VHF bands, which the UHF and VHF is line of sight.
Right.
So you're only going to, it's like countywide you're going to get. But these HF, you're going to get people California, New York, Canada, Brazil, Europe, you'll get wherever. And your point of this, So like you guys up in Canada will take part in field day.
Okay.
I can log contacts with you because I think you're a VE6.
Yes.
Or,
yep.
Yeah. So
VE6.
if I'm looking for, the Alberta province, then I want, like a VE6, or you guys also have VA6, maybe?
Yes, VA6, VE6 in Alberta. Yep.
Yeah. So if it were to come in like that, then I know that guy is roughly about your area.
Okay.
And they go, I think it's 7 is the East Coast, 5 is, it goes 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going from the west to the east.
Right. I was going to, because growing up, I used to always, I was a license plate watcher, and the Nova Scotia ones, I think they were VE1, I believe, where I grew up. So I always wondered, what the heck are those? And then I noticed they always had these weird antennas on the vehicles too.
Yep. Yeah, I have a 2 meter 5/8 wave on my car, and that's it right now. I used to have an HF antenna on it, but I blew that radio up. That's now a paperweight underneath my desk, so we're going to leave that there. But yeah, some of these guys, you'll see the porcupines, they'll have 5 or 6 different antennas on them.
Yep.
Now, the easiest way to know what they are, the short antennas, like 4 feet and under, are going to be local line of sight.
Okay.
And the one that looks like a big fat PVC pipe on the back of it,
yep,
that's going to be HF, because that's a screwdriver antenna. So that is actually motorized inside to raise and lower a coil. So it will load a coil to get your length that you need.
That's what John Pugliano had, something like that at LFPN 2 years ago.
Yes, he had a Wolf River coil, which is a manual version of a screwdriver antenna.
Okay. And that's where you move is it the coil up and down?
Yep, you move the coil up and down along I actually have one out in the garage. I should have grabbed it. I can show you that. But it's a collar that you can rotate and lift up and down.
Okay.
And that will load to give you the electrical length that you need for that antenna.
That's cool. So it is very possible to do HF in a mobile rig then, driving.
Yep. And you can even do them in an electric vehicle. I mean,
really?
I am not going to go political on it, but electric vehicles and ham radio do somewhat work. There's a lot of work to be done, but you would need a screwdriver antenna. Okay. And those go anywhere from $120 to $1,200. So
that's not
it all depends.
The end of the world.
No. Now when we with field day, we use mostly wire antennas, this is going to be my field day antenna. So this is a 4.5 inch round disc, 2 inches wide, and that's the wire that's on it. It's a 28 gauge or 26 gauge wire.
Okay. And
it's reinforced Kevlar, so it won't snap under stress. And basically there's a toroid in this thing. It's called a 49-to-1. And I can kind of show you guys, give me a second here, what this thing looks like. All right, go ahead, Tim.
Okay, hang on here.
So that's the interior. So you have that little disc. It's a toroid, which is this thing right here.
Okay.
And then you have wire coming around the outside. That's magnet wire. And then you have the bulkhead connector, which is where your stuff screws onto.
Okay.
So this antenna weighs less than a pound.
And how do you get it up in the air?
Throw it over a tree.
Okay. That easy, is it?
You would pull this out. He's actually got a video on here how it works, which is this. So that's basically how the antenna works. You pull that wire all the way out, and it winds up just like that.
So how do you use okay, because that's just, you can use that for any band, is that right? Or most bands?
Mine is set up for a 40-20 15 and 10.
Okay.
And I do need a tuner with it because I don't have the length of wire in there correct. It's like 2 or 3 inches off. So that actually next weekend I will adjust it so I don't need that tuner.
Okay.
And I can just run with it hooked straight to the radio.
And you can, okay, so you can run, 20, would you say 20, 15, 10, and 6?
It's a 40, 20, 15, and 10.
10. Okay, cool.
Yep. So
and what was the antenna that you talked me into getting? The wire one. That was
the Wolf River coil, the coil one.
Yeah.
That is it's called a Wolf River coil. Those guys are out of Wisconsin. They're anywhere from $100 to $200, and it's a vertical antenna that sits flat on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, at some point this winter, you're going to help me get it all set up. So
yep. So you actually have a picture of that Wolf River coil I sent you earlier. That's the one that is just the antenna sitting in it straight up.
You know what? We get talking here. Let's, as we're going along there, we really should probably answer what those numbers mean, shouldn't we?
Yep. All right. So 40, 20, 15, and 10. Those are the bands. The actual amateur radio bands. You have 40 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters, and 15 meters. And where you find those, you take basically the operating, it's 10 meters. So like you have 10 meters right here. You divide that into 300. So 300 divided by 10 puts you down at about 30 megahertz. So your 10 meter band is going to be right about there. Your 20 meters, or your 300 divided by 20 is going to be about the 14 megahertz.
Right.
And your 300 divided by 40 is going to be about the 7 megahertz. And the 15 is right around 21 to 21 and a half.
And these numbers are, so you would tune your radio to the 40 meter band.
Yes, the 40 meter frequency. Yep.
Frequency, sorry. And then within that frequency, there's a whole bunch of, what do you
spacing that? Yeah, so basically the 40 meter band, just so I get this right, I have the chart next to me.
Sure.
Goes from 7.0 megahertz to 7.3 megahertz. So that is 300 kilohertz wide, and each signal is going to be about 3 kilohertz.
Okay.
So you're going to have room in there for 100 stations.
Ah, that's how that works. Okay. It's similar to tuning in an AM or FM radio, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Once you get into like digital and CW, it's a lot shorter. It's like 500 kilohertz.
Okay. And then the other ones, 20 would be its own band. Is that right? Or what is it?
Yes, 20 meters will be its own band. That goes from 14.0 to 14.350.
In the same separation, you kind of...
Yep. It's every single ham radio frequency. You'll see when you start learning this stuff, it's 3 kilohertz wide.
Okay.
Is your phone signal modulation. So when you're talking into your radio, your signal is going to be about 3 kilohertz wide. AM is 6 kilohertz wide.
Okay.
So,
and the reason there's that spacing, correct me if I'm wrong, is so that you don't bleed into the other person's conversations, right?
Yes.
Which is, see, I've learned a lot over the years from you.
Yes. And now here's where we get back to is there interference? Yes, right. Because some of those guys will set up 1.5 kilohertz wide or apart from each other and just operate.
Oh, sure. Yep.
So now you have to fight over somebody else who is really close to you trying to make contacts.
So, okay, let's use this as a teaching tool or whatever you want to call it. But so say you were dealing with a scenario like this where you're trying to make a contact and someone else nearby is also close to your frequency trying to do the same thing. How would you overcome that?
the correct way to do it would be to move away from them and go
Right.
to a different band. Say if you're on 20, you'd move up to 15.
Okay.
Because 15 is a lot wider than 20. So 15 meters is 21.2 to 21.450 for phone.
Okay.
And I did see in their phone is voice. So that is voice communications.
So when you're using the term phone, that means that you and I are talking through two radios, one to one another, or two transceivers
Yes.
or whatever. Okay.
Yep, and that's known as simplex, which you can only operate simplex during field day. You cannot go through a repeater.
Okay. Huh.
So they want it radio to radio.
Sure. It's a bit of a training for grid down or emergency response. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's it gives everybody a chance to get out and set up their stuff and test it before something does happen.
Okay. That makes sense.
If you don't know how to operate the equipment, you're not going to be able to figure it out. So,
and normally you would just get a bunch of people together, and at least what I found in the ham end of things is usually they're pretty liable to help you out too. Hey, teach you how to do something.
Yep. So I actually had at our last meeting, one of the guys I mentioned I broke my HF or my UHF radio that I have here.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 guys are like, hey, I have an extra one at home. Like, I'll give it to you. I'm like,
right.
I appreciate it. It's an easy fix. I got to replace the speaker.
Right.
And that's the one I currently have in my car. So that one is no longer a brick.
Okay.
But the one that I used to have in my car is a brick, and it will stay a brick because I'm not going to fix it.
Too expensive?
It's not worth it. It's a $200. It's a $200 radio, and it's probably going to cost $100 for parts. So it's not worth it.
Just going to shout out to Hippocrates Garden. Said Kilo Bravo 5 Romeo Juliet Lima. So another ham in there too.
Yep. So that's going to be 5 land down near Texas area.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure where, but I'm a 9 call. My call sign, for those that want to know, it's November Alpha 9 Tango Echo. If anybody wants to see that real quick, it's my name with a 9 in it.
Right there. NA9TE.
Yep.
Okay.
So Arkansas is close.
Yep. Right on.
Yep. So I'm in Illinois. I'm a 9 call. 6 calls are out of California. 7 calls are Pacific Northwest. 0 calls are Iowa to Utah, maybe somewhere, and then like north to south there.
Okay.
And then 3 calls are New England. 4 calls are southeast. And then ones are New England. 2s is kind of New England, and 8s are Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
what other? Well, I guess you got some notes anyway. But I keep asking you these questions, but what are some of the other things that you can kind of pull out of field day that will, I guess, either teach you some preparedness skills or that sort of thing?
So field day really is just kind of play with it and see what's going to work. So we're going to have probably 6 or 7 different antennas and 4 or 5 radios.
Okay.
So we're going to play with the propagation as the day goes on to see what antennas are working better across the country. So like if I switch to, so propagation is the, sending your signal out and who hears it. So, and it does change throughout the day. So if we find that one antenna is lacking to the east and picking up more towards the west, we may switch to a different antenna to see if it'll get us back to the east. Okay. If we need to get a state in the east. It's like our goal is all 50 states this time. We were too short.
What did you miss last time?
Hawaii and North Dakota, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you got Wyoming, but not North Dakota.
Yeah. North Dakota is really hard to get.
Okay.
So
that's another reason then, of course, as preppers, we love to buy gear, but I'm just thinking out loud. That's another reason to have multiple antennas and that sort of thing. If you're having a hell of a time getting out on one antenna or, for whatever reason, swap to a different one.
Right. Absolutely. Your wire antennas are going to act different than a vertical antenna.
Okay.
Your vertical antennas will do really good getting across to Europe.
Okay.
Where I can hear Europe, I can't necessarily contact Europe on a wire antenna.
Why is that?
There's a better ground plane under a vertical antenna.
Okay.
So for reference, I have a vertical antenna on the side of my house, and I laid hardware cloth underneath it. So hardware cloth is, everybody knows what hardware cloth is. So that gives a metal, base to the antenna, and it will shoot my signal further out off of that because it's not going into the ground as much.
Okay.
Where it's reflecting off of that metal and going back up.
Both said,
yes.
you want to read that?
Yes. Part of getting the state is getting the signal there. The other half is having someone there, hearing it and responding. You may have a great system, but if no one is there, ain't that the truth? Man, that is the truth there.
So do you know, do you think there'll be field day setups in every state?
Yes. Guaranteed there'll be every state. It's just a matter of if you can hear them or not.
Okay.
And it's being on the right band at the right time.
Sure.
And that person hearing you.
Because, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did see the question about propagation. That does change throughout the day.
Okay.
If we get a solar storm in the middle of this, all bets are off. Now, being that we don't, they're not calling for a solar storm this go around, so propagation should be really good. So 20, 15, and 10 are really good daytime bands.
Okay.
40 and 20 can be, or 40 is really good at night and late afternoon, early evening, and 20 can work through the night sometimes if the solar cycle is up. So a lot of this depends on how the sun acts. I know it's something hard to comprehend.
Sure. That's those flares coming off.
Yeah. So if we get a solar flare that comes off during field day, there will be a blackout in comms. Like you're going to get maybe like a 600-mile circle.
Okay.
Not the entire country.
And that runs, I saw that in Hippocrates Garden here too, but that's a yearly cycle or a multi-yearly cycle, right?
Yep. It's 11-year sun cycle. And right now, if you want to see what ham radio can do, now is the time to get in because the peak of solar cycle 25 is in 2025.
Okay.
So you have 2 years to get there to the peak, and it's going to be a fun ride. Now, I've made contacts over to Europe on 10 meters already.
Wow.
Eventually, we will be able to make contacts with Europe on 6 meters.
And typically, now I might be wrong about this, correct me if I am, but wasn't 10 meters what we talked about for like kind of 300-mile skips or something? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah. I mean, it all skips about the same.
Okay.
So 10 meters is right around CB. So anybody that wants to talk CB. CB is ham radio with 5 watts.
Okay.
But there's no call signs involved. If we're at a high solar cycle, you'll be able to talk across the country. If you're in a low solar cycle, guess what? You're going to struggle to make it down the block. Same with 10 meters.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
basically because those solar rays that are bombarding the Earth are kind of scattering your signal, or maybe
Yeah,
not scattering, but interfering.
it heats up the ionosphere, which separates into different layers. They kind of go through this when you start doing the testing,
Yep.
and you start learning it. They'll go through that whole thing. Now, I am not going to go down that road because you and I could be here for hours.
Sure. I've got 5 questions saved already, so you guys keep asking, and
Yep,
we'll work
keep
through them here in
asking.
a few minutes.
Absolutely. So basically, another thing, if you guys want to listen to Field Day, I need to kind of go through what the different classes are, and this will kind of help understand who's out there and what their goals are. So you have class A, B, C, D, E, and F. And you'll hear on the frequencies guys go 2 alpha or 3 bravo, or sorry, 2 bravo, or 1 Charlie, or 1 echo, or you'd hear 22 alpha.
Okay.
So the number is the number of transmitters they have going at the site. So that's the number of the radio stations they have set up at any one point transmitting a signal out.
Okay.
Now, the A, B, C, and D, E, and F designate what class they're in. So a class A would be a ham radio club,
Okay.
non-portable, with all of their antennas in a 1,000-foot circle.
Oh.
So you cannot be more than 1,000, from the center point, 1,000 feet from each other.
Okay.
Class B is a 1 or 2 person portable. So that could be somebody at a park or somebody climbing a mountain to go do summits on the air for field day, or parks on the air for field day, or could just be somebody like me going down to the pond and running under my own call sign.
Right. Right. Okay.
So we are actually going to be our class is going to be a 2 alpha. We're going to have 2 transmitters running under our club call sign, and all of our antennas are going to be within 1,000 feet of each other.
Okay.
So class C is a mobile or a vehicle.
Okay.
So bicycle mobile, maritime mobile,
Oh, yeah.
parachute mobile. We have a guy who does parachute mobile, or vehicle, trucks, pretty much anything, bicycles, stuff like that, motorcycle. Now a class D, that is somebody working from their house.
Okay.
So you'll hear like a 1 delta or a 2 delta. So that's 1 person running off their home system, or 2 people running off their home system. So like if Aaron and I wanted to sit down here in the basement and run field day from the house, we'd either be a 1 alpha a 1 delta or a 2 delta.
Okay.
It depends on how many transmitters we have running. Yes, aeronautical mobile, that is another one. So now class E is the same as class D, but it's under emergency power. So that would be off of a generator or a solar panel.
Okay.
That's more than likely what we would run under class E.
Okay.
Class F is going to be an EOC, or Emergency Operations Center. So that's going to be like a county storm watch place, or the Salvation Army, or if somebody's got something set up that's like an emergency operations area for your county.
Sure,
That's
like
what
local emergency management or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's who that would be. And this year you are limited to, for classes A, B, and C, you're limited to 500 watts. Last year it was 200 watts. Now we only run 100 watts because I'm not hauling an amplifier out to go run off a generator.
Sure.
It's pointless. So we usually run 95 to 100 watts, give or take.
Okay.
So those guys will be A, B, and C, and D, E, and F are limited to 100 watts. So that's home, or EOCs are limited to 100.
Okay.
But if you want to run 5 watts, which is known as QRP, that's low power, you would get an extra 100 points per transmitter.
Oh, okay.
Or running the 5 watts or so. Now, running 5 watts on field day is hard.
I bet it would be.
Because I'm running 100 watts, and if you and I are, the same place transmitting off the same antenna, I'm going to be louder than you. There's no way around it.
Right.
Because I'm putting more power out there.
That makes sense.
Right. And then we will log every single contact.
Okay.
So the way we'll have this set up is the radios will either be on solar or a generator.
Okay.
And then our laptops and our ham radio network between the two laptops, so we can talk to each other, will be run off of grid power because we don't want to lose our logs.
Okay.
So we're not required to run emergency power for the laptops. Now we can if we want.
Sure.
But it's easier to set it up that way, so we don't have all of a sudden the generator runs out of gas and we lose the entire log, which would be bad.
So you mentioned solar. I
Yep.
was going to bring up a picture here, but while I'm trying to, I didn't put it in the right folder. But anyway,
that's all right.
How long can you run? Like on field day, for instance, if you wanted to run off of solar batteries and panels, could you do that infinitely if the weather was decent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So in my testing yesterday, and once you start showing these pictures, you'll start to see how I have it set up.
Okay.
I run a 78 amp hour sealed lead acid battery, and it's a deep cycle, and I have a 320 watt solar panel hooked up to it.
Okay.
Now my radio is only putting out 100 watts. So that solar panel is keeping the battery system charged all day long as I'm using it. This is my panel right here.
Okay.
So that is a Dokio 300 watt. It's actually a 320 watt. But it's basically the size of a sheet of plywood. And each one of those sections fold down, so it's only one section wide when you're carrying it. And it can be easily... Yeah, the thing's probably 6 pounds, 7 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wouldn't backpack it, but I can carry it out there, no problem.
And
they are
this stuff too, right?
Yeah. I sent you all that stuff. I can drop it in the
No,
Telegram.
I got it here in the notes. I'll share them.
Yep. And then so that is that's my solar panel, and behind it you can see I have a PVC stand for it that sits up, which is right here. So this is just
so simple. It works good.
Yeah. And those actually double as our bow and arrow, our arrow holders when we go shoot our bows on the lane. We can stick the arrows down in the tubes, so we don't need the sleeve on your back carrying the arrows.
Okay.
You just drop them right in there, and then you can pull them out and shoot them. So, use case scenario, it doubles every single time.
Sure.
So yeah, that panel and the charger is going to run you about $300. But I have taken that down to SRF, run radio down at SRF. So that's Self-Reliance Festival. And I've run we have a little 2000 watt inverter under here with batteries. We lost power for I don't know, 3-4 hours, and I actually had to cook dinner because it was right in the middle of dinner. We had the crock pot going and everything.
I
So
remember that.
Yeah. So I hooked that panel up to the batteries, hooked the crock pot up to the inverter, and then ran everything. So, but yeah, if you go back one, Tim, you can see the Wolf River coil. So that's actually
Oh, sorry, hang on. This one?
This is supposed to be the wire antenna,
Okay.
but the wire is down below by the boxes. It kind of
Okay.
goes up into the tree a little bit. So you can't really see it, but that's this antenna. The next one is the Wolf River coil.
Oh, okay, this one here. Okay.
Yep. So that's exactly what John Pugliano uses at LFTN when he comes. And it's
Oh yeah, no, the solar panel. Somebody said the solar panel link didn't work, but maybe it didn't. I don't know. I just reposted the solar panel link there, guys. It worked for me now, so maybe I pasted it wrong the first time. I'm good at that.
Yep. So that solar panel will bring up. It'll give you the solar charge controller, along with a little bit of wiring. Okay. Now I will tell you to extend the wires because they only give you a 10-foot lead. I put about 60 feet. I cut the wire in half and I extended it 60 feet just so I could get that solar panel out from my battery bank in the basement.
Okay. And you don't lose much. There's not much lost. Yeah.
No, I wasn't hitting the radio hard enough to even see that solar panel kick up.
Okay.
So when I initially hooked it up, it was running at about 10 amps. And within an hour, it was constantly on like 0.9 amps.
Okay.
So it charged up the battery real quick and then just maintained it throughout the day. And then when I go to transmit at night when the sun goes down, I have that reserve power.
That's what I was going to ask. So if you're running off solar for field day, are you going to have enough backup power to run through the night?
Yep. So that 79 amp hours, my radio pulls 15 amps. So 79 amps per hour for 20 hours. Technically, I don't even really need the solar panels, but it's there.
Sure.
Because I can do it.
Another way to test your gear too, right?
Right. Shake things out. I can charge other stuff. I can charge guys' cell phones. I can put my laptop on it because I actually have a 12-volt laptop.
Really?
Yep. So I posted the picture of that. That's in that group of photos.
Okay.
It's on the bench, so I can go through all that stuff that's on there.
I'll bring it up.
So it'll be, that one right there. Okay. So my battery box, that's the battery box
right there
that I have. There's the deep cycle battery in there. And that blue thing on the front face on the left side is a battery monitor. That'll tell me the current output, the current input, and it'll also give me the amount of amp hours used.
And is that USB or what are the connections on that?
It's Anderson power poles.
Okay.
And the solar charge controller is XT60, I think.
Okay.
It's a goofy connector and I hate it. But that's the solar charge controller on the table. And then if you look on the face of the box, you'll see that blue thing. That's my battery minder.
Right.
And that's the battery monitor with the shunt that I sent you the link for as well.
Okay. I bought one of those a while back and haven't hooked it up yet either. Every time I get you guys talking, I get something, and
it's fun.
Yeah.
So the radio that I use is a Yaesu FT891, which is the thing with the green rails in the middle. Those are 3D printed protection rails. Cool. So if I drop the thing on its face, those will break, not the radio.
Nice. And
the thing directly below it is an LDG tuner. It's an automatic tuner or push button. It will pretty much tune a wet noodle. It'll tune a 15-to-1, I think. SWR.
So, real quick, can you kind of give the 5 cent explanation of what tuning is?
Yes, so it does not tune the antenna. It's like a box that goes in between your radio and your antenna to make your radio happy that it's seeing 50 ohms.
Okay.
So it's got a bunch of relays and junk inside of it that all click around and make a whole bunch of noise. And as soon as it gets as close as it can to 50 watt or 50 ohms, it'll sit right there, and then the radio will be happy.
Okay.
You may not be putting out more than 2 watts on your antenna, but your radio is working.
And you're able to hear better as well, right? You're able to
somewhat,
receive
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to receive a little bit better. Right next to that in the middle is my $60 Micro Center laptop, which I posted in the Telegram a couple days ago.
Okay.
So if you guys are in the Telegram group, you will see that link for Micro Center. It's a Evolve 3 Maestro, and currently it is on sale for $35. And it is for a laptop, a Windows 10 laptop.
$35?
$35. Okay.
Okay.
But the catch is, if you are not near a Micro Center, you can't ship it.
Okay.
And I posted the Amazon link, and it's $99 on Amazon.
Okay.
To me, it is not worth $99.
Okay.
I'm content with like the $50 to $60 because everybody in the ham radio community calls it the Jankopotamus because it is the jankiest laptop you will ever use. And it's a lot like this radio.
Okay.
So this is a Baofeng, and everybody complains how janky these radios are. Well, that laptop is a little janky, but it'll get all your jobs done that you need to get done for ham radio.
Okay.
The guys have put Linux on that thing. It does have a Wi-Fi card in it, and some of them had an LTE card in them.
Oh, wow. For $35 or $50.
Yeah. They're $59 normally. I paid $64 for mine.
Okay.
Tax and everything out the door. And I can do pretty much everything I need to do, including all the stuff that I do on that 7610 that I have.
And is that the 12 volt one?
Yes, that is 12 volts natively. So it charges on 12 volts. So you hook it directly to a battery and it will charge. Where my Lenovo,
Go ahead.
The radio, ham radio outlet, or if you want to help somebody out in the community, go talk to Evan.
Yes, because his are the Yaesu or the Baofangs that he's selling, right?
Well, this one, yeah, he sells this one, and he sells that 891. So
So Evan's been on the show, and he's kind of an extended community member. There is his. He has they're pre-programmed kits, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pre-programmed to your zip code.
Okay.
And then the 891s that he sells are Mars modded.
And what does that mean?
So a Mars mod is basically it opens up the radio to transmit wherever.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. Fair enough.
So,
cool.
If I remember, that's what he has on his website.
Okay.
But I know for a fact these are, because, these are modded where they will transmit wherever. And then he gives you a real nice antenna with it and set to go. So now, also on that desk is my other laptop. That's the laptop I'm talking to you guys on right now. Okay. It's a Lenovo i5. That thing is a 20-volt laptop, so I cannot charge it off of 12 volts. But that's what I was running the live stream off of. And I had it tethered to this phone.
Okay, so just made a Wi-Fi hotspot or whatever.
Yep, absolutely.
So
made a hotspot and did all my stuff.
So that means that if you have that laptop with you, then you need to have an inverter with you as well, right?
Yes, or mains power.
Okay.
So, but the one from Micro Center, all I have to do is plug it into the computer, and I'm done.
Right.
Or
So
plug it into the battery box.
Does it have, okay, so does the battery box just have a 12-volt socket on it, or what do you have on it for?
No, so I have power poles on it.
Okay.
Anderson power poles. And I will actually cut the USB adapter that came with it and put power poles on that.
Okay.
So that way we're set, done, and I can just plug it right in there. So.
Yep. John Witherspoon just said they're Mars modded.
Yep. I couldn't remember if the 891 was also Mars modded or not.
Okay.
Yep. That is a great radio. If you have the funds, buy it from Evan because you're going to be happy.
You'll have when you buy it from him, you've got all the gear you need too, right?
Yeah, he will set you up.
Nice.
So, I think he's got a whole kit. You can get them in any of the ham radio shops. They should be in stock right now, but if you can, go support Evan. Mars Mod. Mars Mod is Mars or MERS. That's two different things.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. So Mars, MARS, is the military auxiliary radio system.
Oh, okay.
So they play on different frequencies than ham radio or that amateur radio do. And MERS is like a business band that these radios will get.
Oh, okay.
So MERS is more line of sight. Mars is the military stuff.
Okay.
So that's right, John. I forgot about that. He was up at your place doing that stuff for you. That was a lot of cool videos he put up.
Set them up as nav station. Is that right?
Yeah, I saw he put a new antenna up and a couple other things.
Cool.
So,
yeah, he's doing that full time now, which is awesome. What would you like me to bring up next, Nate?
Let's see. Next up, if you want to go to the next picture to the right with the orange cases.
Yep.
Down at the bottom, those are Apache cases that you can get at Harbor Freight. They are a quarter of the price that you would for like a Plano dry box.
Right.
So the Plano branded dry box. And they have pick apart foam in them. That's what I carry all my radio equipment in.
Oh, I got to pick me up some of them next time.
I didn't
know they had those.
So the little one is like $20.
Okay.
And that big one is like $70.
Okay.
That big one, I can fit 2 radios, a tuner, both microphones, and some connectors in it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
The little one I have my laptop in, along with all the wiring equipment.
That little one,
like all the wiring connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holds your little laptop?
Yep.
Wow. They're bigger than they look then.
Yeah. So that laptop's only like 11 inches across on the screen.
Okay.
So it's tiny. I wish I had it down here. It's out in the garage right now.
That's
in the box.
Something else to add to my Harbor Freight list next time I go down. So.
Yeah, they're fun. From there, if you want to show the thumbnail that I sent you, or the one that you use for the thumbnail, I think it's up a little bit.
Oh, yep. There we are.
So this is where we set up for field day. What you see, that is effectively a 10 by 30 tent.
Okay.
And then that is our little tower trailer. That is a 30-foot crank up trailer. It's a 40 by 48 little Harbor Freight deal.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's,
yep.
and it's got a crank up tower on it, so that it's folded over. Did I send you that picture?
I don't,
If not, I can send it again.
yeah, I don't think so. That's okay.
Okay, let me send
So
it real
how
quick.
low does this fold down to when it's all cranked all the way down?
It's about 5 feet tall when it's all done.
Okay,
4 to 5 feet. Give me just a second. I'll send it to you.
sure.
Because I took a picture of it folded down in our side yard.
Okay. Is that one you built?
Yeah. No, the club did.
Okay.
So that's the trailer. So
Dude,
basically, it's the 40 by 48,
okay.
and the front section will tilt down. So it's sitting like this right now along the trailer.
Yep.
It'll tilt, and then it will extend up. It's a crank up tower.
Oh, okay. So
And then we have a 10-foot mass pole in it. So that's going to be 35, 40 feet when it's all said and done.
nice. I don't know what that is. Was there somebody is it a joke? I'm thinking it's a joke. I don't know if there was a spammer coming in or not. I'm trying to figure out what Cabot was asking. I'm guessing it's a joke. Some kind of maybe about erecting the tower, perhaps. So
Yeah, it could be.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I can't see anything weird coming in the comments here, guys. So you could, okay, not that you would need to necessarily, but if you were mobile and you had a need to get some serious comms out, you could haul a little something like this along with you, couldn't you?
Yeah, I can haul that behind my ATV.
Oh, okay. So you
It's
could go
not light.
off-roading or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I can move that thing around in my yard by hand, no problem.
Okay.
It's nicely balanced. It sticks out, so it hangs over the front probably 2 feet, hangs off the back probably 4 feet. So yeah, it's about a 10-foot section,
And it's
got
pretty sturdy when it's up?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
It's got outriggers on it that come out
Oh, okay.
that make it probably 8x8.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So
Huh.
it does real good.
Hippocrates said that water would also act as a ground plane. Is that part of the reason why you do it, or?
We do it down there because it's more out of the way.
Okay.
It's kind of a nice spot where we can go be quiet and we're not bugging anybody, and nobody's going to complain about a generator running for 27 hours straight.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's and really, there's a bunch of old trees down there that we can hang all our wire antennas from. So it just makes life easy. You know, we don't necessarily need the mast, but we have it for our 2-meter antenna to get back into the repeater. That's 40 miles away.
Okay.
So it's fun to play around with.
So, do you have any more? Do you want to work on some questions, or what would you like to do
Yeah.
next?
So you guys are probably all wondering on where to listen.
Yes,
There's actually a couple of different places. So last week you had on Chris.
Yes.
And he was talking about some free and cheap stuff. I'm going to kind of expand on it because I know I threw a couple comments up.
Sure.
But I wanted to kind of show you guys what the best thing, if you wanted to learn how to do this. Sorry, I got my monitor up top. So if you want to share my screen.
There you go.
So this is the Northern Utah Web SDR. It's a website-based software-designed radio. This does not cost you guys any money to get in there and listen. The website is sdrutah.org.
Just put it in the comments for everybody.
Yep, I see that there. Thank you. And you'll see the colors on there. The colors covered the different amateur radio bands. So this is where you guys are going to where I'm going to make it full circle and you guys are going to kind of see it. So I said we're going to run 80 or 160, 80, and 40 is the yellow. So you'll see the yellow one up here. And you can click on any one of those. So you see the 75 and 80 are always together.
Okay.
Then you have the 40 meters. So your 75 is this guy right here. And then your 80 is this guy right, or your 40 is right here.
Okay.
So now if you want to listen to the long distance stuff, you want, during the day, 20, 15, and 10, and 6. Okay. So the nice thing, you want the green one. The nice thing about the green one, that has a beam, a log periodic beam, facing east from Utah. So it's basically up in the mountains in Utah, facing towards New York.
Right.
So it will hear everything coming in from Europe.
Okay.
And I can I'll start up this. I don't know how busy it's going to be on 20. So you go into here to the green.
Oh, wow.
And this is all your stuff. Let me mute this thing real quick. So, Tim, you remember how I would do my live streams?
Yeah.
It would have this kind of looking, or this
matrixy looking thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
All these yellow things are the signals on the band. So cool. Being I can't hook in the audio with this, you guys will just have to take my word on it. But every single one of those yellow bands is somebody talking right now. You can scroll down here, you can zoom in, zoom out on the actual thing. You can go all the way down here and look in. And then you can also
really faint ones on the left. Is that just static?
Yes.
Or wide? Okay.
This right here is static.
Okay.
So it's being there so evenly spaced, I will bet you money it's power line noise. Because because his noise floor is sitting at an S3.
Okay. So there is something there then.
Right. Some of the guys that I was hearing before I came in on the stream were actually stronger into his radio or into this system than my radio.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's further east to me. So I'm in Illinois. This thing is in Utah. This one, anybody and everybody can log into.
And
you
just
can go and just listen. You can listen to AM broadcast. You can listen to AM shortwave. You can listen to European shortwave. Anything you guys really want to do. And then you'll see down here, so you'll have this one right here is 40 CW or 40 phone in the yellow. Your CW is going to be down here. See all these really narrow lines? That's all your Morse code. So that's going to be the guys pounding it out on...
Oh, okay. Yep.
On their little key, which mine's behind there, but
and that's why that can get through sometimes and others can't, because it's so narrow.
Yeah, it's so narrow, and you can easily tell it's like a clicky pen on off, on off, on off. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, and you'll see it in if you have a software defined radio with a waterfall, you'll see it in the waterfall.
Okay.
So I can actually kind of go in over here. So each one of these, I'm trying to see what the frequency is. Yeah, 14080. So this right here, this is FT8. This is a digital signal.
Okay.
Down here is all your Morse code.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So you can see all the individual dots and dashes.
Sure. That's really cool.
So it's another way to pick it up real easy.
That's actually really neat. Okay.
Yep. So anybody and everybody can log into the system, and this is the most reliable system there is out there to listen, is the Northern Utah SDRs. And just remember, there are two of them. They cover different bands. There's yellow and green. So green is more of a daytime, and yellow is more of a nighttime.
Okay.
So just kind of remember that. Green for go is, whatever.
Yeah.
And yellow, be aware that it's only that. So green will 20 meters will go all throughout the night if you have somebody on there. Now your next one is going to be something that's really fun. So this map is the Kiwi SDR. Anybody first want to throw out a state in the comments?
Yeah, so throw it a state, and whoever's listening there, and Nate will be able to. This will kind of show you where somebody is, right, or where there's a possible radio you could listen to.
Yep, give me any state, anything in the country. First one gets it, and I'll show you what the closest SDR is to you.
We'll give him a second here. If not, I'll give you one. Oh,
Texas.
There we go. Texas. Yeah, no. Oh, we got Montana. Oh, 2 for Texas.
There's 3. Okay, so you have Forney, Texas, Anna, Texas, and Austin, Texas. We'll cover 0 through 30 megahertz.
Okay.
You can click on any one of those, and these ones are a little different. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Okay. You guys hear that? You don't hear a noise?
No.
Right, that's fine. This guy's actually got it tuned to WWV, which is the coordinated time clock.
Okay.
So the nationwide, that's a signal that gives you, that sets the atomic clock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So this one, you can kind of just play around with it. It's the same, pretty much same concept. He's got it right on 10 megahertz. So we'll move it up to, we'll go 14 and some change. And then we'll zoom in. And then we'll go down here to CW. So there's all your CW contacts.
Cool.
So you can see how the CW works.
Yep. So okay.
Yep, you can actually see the dits and the DAs. And then you can scroll kind of over this way. You have FT4, FT8, PSK31. These are all digital modes that need a laptop.
Okay.
And
they make full use of their portion of the band, don't they?
Yes. Yep. And then once you get up here, it's like 14.15.
Okay.
And now we're moving into 14.2. So here's where you start seeing the voice signals.
Oh, okay.
So you can see just how wide those signals are. Each one of those is anywhere from 2.8 kilohertz to 3 kilohertz wide. And then right here, this blue label is slow scan television, which is a really weird slow scan television that's sending pictures over the internet.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I missed where you pointed on the picture. Where did you point?
So that is this blue thing right here.
Oh, okay.
Straight down. Right here would be slow scan television, but nobody's transmitting it right now.
And that's like when the space station, that sort of thing, send pictures back?
Yep, absolutely.
Which is cool. So that means you can send still images over ham radio, right?
Yep. Anybody that is listening and has the ability to receive it can send it. I have an app on my phone where I can put it right up to the radio, and it will decode the picture for me.
Wow. So, okay. Could you do that off grid? So say there's no internet. Could you still do SSTV? Yep. So, okay. Here's what I'm going to ask you then. Because you're not allowed to send coded messages over ham radio, right? In theory.
Right. Correct.
Could you send a picture of a piece of paper with a code written on it?
It's a gray area, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Right?
As long as your call sign is on it, you're good to go.
Okay.
But yes, you can send A real use case scenario would be somebody's document to like a birth certificate or something.
Okay.
Like you were 100 miles out from the hospital and somebody needed a birth certificate, you could send it over ham radio.
That's cool.
You can do emails, which is what a lot of people who are sailing do. They do what's called WinLink, and that's just sending emails back and forth over ham radio.
Okay.
Because they're not going to pay for satellite, and it's
Right.
just cheaper to do it that way.
Huh.
But I think that is pretty much that. And I do have this. So if you guys have any questions on field day or I missed anything, this is the website you want to go look into.
Okay. Sure.
It is field-day.arrl.org.
Okay.
You want to kind of poke around there. It gives you all the rules. It also gives you the field day locator, which you can put your zip code in and check and see who is doing a field day near you, and you can go play radio. Because there's more than likely they will have a get on the air station.
And what does that mean?
It's somebody who doesn't have a license is welcome to show up and operate a radio using the club's call sign. So we will be using the club's call sign, and anybody that shows up, there are a couple people from the community who are driving in. One is from a couple states over. I'm not going to mention who it is because I'll let him mention it. I don't know if he's in here or not. He is coming in. He is licensed and his wife is not, but he is licensed as a technician right now.
Okay.
So he cannot operate HF other than 10 meters.
Oh, similar to what I am.
Right. But with me being there, I'm an extra. So we operate under the club call sign, and anybody who shows up in the area can operate on whatever legal frequency they can operate on under our call sign. Or, basically, because I can run the full gamut of all the frequencies.
Right.
So if they use the call sign, they're fine. It's like Erin. She was playing around on HF during last field day. She's only a technician. Well, being that I was sitting next to her and she was using the club call sign, she was able to operate general frequencies.
Okay.
So,
which is cool about ham is you can basically you can use the privileges of whoever the highest person is, as long as they're, in control of the station, is what John Pugliano said, or.
Yes, in control of the station, and you have to use their call sign. Oh, okay. You cannot use your call sign. Your call sign is limited to, so like if Erin were to come down here and operate under her call sign, and she was on a general frequency, being she's only a technician, somebody would look her up in the database and go, wait a minute, you're a technician operating on general frequencies. They would either A, say something on the radio, B, send a postcard, say, knock it off, C, send an email, say, hey, knock it off, or call the FCC and say, this person is operating out of their limits.
Right.
So that's really how it goes. So but if she were to come down here and I'm sitting right next to her, she can operate under my call sign and go wherever she wants, as long as I'm down here with her.
That makes sense.
So,
do you want to work through some questions?
Sure. Throw them at me. I see we got 10 or 11. So
yeah, actually, the first one is a statement, but I thought you might want to kind of chat about it. Mauser put a couple comments. So we had a bad storm damage in North and East Texas. Large portions of the region have been out of power. Many in the affected area have been using ham and GMRS to communicate and coordinate. And then I'll read this one too, and then you can kind of comment. The storm revealed several weaknesses in relying on repeaters for large area comms. Several repeaters had no generator backup.
Yep. So we have a 10-hour battery backup on ours.
Okay.
And our repeater is set to throttle back to about half power the second it goes on battery power.
Okay.
And we should have anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of backup power, consistent use 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
So that is keying and unkeying for 8 to 10 hours straight.
Now, for those who don't know, or what we've talked, I don't know if I've talked to you, but the average power outage in North America is less than 4 hours.
Yeah.
So you're good for in most case scenarios, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And really, if the repeater goes down, that's where that tower would come into play, because UHF and VHF, height is might.
Because it's all line of sight. Oh, I just made another rhyme. Okay.
Yep. So Carlos, KD9OLN, Kilo Delta 9, Oscar Lima November, has the tallest tower in North America. He does parachute.
Yeah.
He does parachute mobile. Right. He starts at 14,000 feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he will get contacts on this radio right here, 300 miles away.
That's really neat.
So
he must pull his chute as soon as he jumps, does he almost?
Yep. Second he goes out the plane, he's clear of the plane, he pulls the chute.
Okay. How many contacts can he make on his way down usually?
15 to 20.
Okay. And he must just have, he live streams it, doesn't he? Or record it or something?
He records it on a GoPro.
Okay.
So he actually got a new radio this year, and I am really looking forward to contacting him this year. Because what I'll do, I'm so close to him, if I know he's jumping, I will record his jump.
Oh, okay.
Because I can hear him, and I'm within 30 miles of where he jumps. I can hear everybody trying to get into him.
Ah, okay.
So if he loses his recording, I have a backup. Now, He has a new radio that allows recording to be done. He got a brand new IC705. It's a little 5-watt QRP radio. But, no.
So, Know Your Joe wants to know, will a good power supply reduce or eliminate the noise from the grid?
No, it will not.
Okay.
It all depends on what's around you and how good your radio is to get rid of that. Now, you do have the ability to wrap your power cords with a bunch of these. You can turn it into a toroid, and that will kill some of the noise. But I have one antenna on the side of the house that is a vertical that is probably 30 feet from the power lines.
Okay.
Now, it's only a 10-foot tall antenna, so even if it falls over, it's still 20 feet away.
Right.
So it is within the legal limits of it is further than twice the height of the antenna from the power lines.
Okay.
But I get an S9 noise floor on that antenna, where my end-fed in the backyard is an S3 on the same frequency.
So just out of curiosity then, are you planning on moving it, or is that the only spot that you can have that antenna?
It's really the only spot I can have that because I don't want the kids near that one.
Okay.
It's ground mounted, and it's got a bunch of radials underneath it, a bunch of wires.
Yep.
I'm trying to get the grass to grow up above the radials so I can just go right over the top of it with the mower. But yeah, I don't really want them playing around that, because if I'm down here and don't pay attention, and they're in the backyard and I actually key up the radio and I don't know it, that they're out there, I can actually give them a burn.
Right. And apparently it's, what do you call it? A nasty burn, or how does it work?
It's an RF burn. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's an RF burn. It would be the equivalent of like maybe a 2nd-degree burn if you were actually I wire.
Okay.
So
I want to see if I can. I was trying to get I can't find. Aaron mentioned that we have a ham radio group, and I'm trying to find the shareable link here, and it doesn't want to come up for me. I'll get it here in a minute if somebody can find it. But yeah, I'll ask you another question while we're at it. Okay, what's next? Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to encourage Moon Bear. I thought maybe you'd want to.
Yes.
So they said, I want to be a ham. I must take the exam.
Yes. And I will tell you, there's several different places. You can either find your local club and reach out and get some study material. You can join Tim's Telegram group, the workshop ham radio group, and we will all help you at least get the materials. And then when you are ready, you can jump on Discord with the ham radio crash course.
Oh.
And talk to their VE team, and they will schedule a session at any point that you would like to test. So if they have people available at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and you need to test, they'll test you. And generally, you'll have your call sign within 2 or 3 days.
Here is, I just shared it. It should come up anyway. Although it's not showing up because I'm in the start. There is the ham radio. And I know they said you guys started it. It's the first group that I had nothing to do with that sprung out of the workshop. It's a pretty cool thing, actually. So there it is. So come on by and join it. Yeah.
Any questions, don't hesitate to ask in there. I will do my best. I will overload you with a ton of stuff to go watch.
Yes.
I probably have a month worth of content you can go watch on YouTube / audio format type stuff. And then I will send you to go take practice exams. And that is either free on a website or it's $3 on an app. And I would suggest paying for the app because you can get it right on your iPhone. And your money that you spend on that is going back to help out the VE team test other hams. So
Know Your Joe says, on a worst case scenario, what is the range of a typical ham setup? Nate's going to say it depends, but
that is a very big it depends.
Okay.
It depends on the time of day, the frequency you are using. Is there somebody on the other end? I will tell you, to make reliable point-to-point communication, it will cost you thousands of dollars. Like Tim and I could you and I could very easily spend $100,000 each and not be able to talk to each other every day.
That's great. And we're, as the crow flies, we're what, 1,000 miles?
Yeah, probably about 1,000.
Yeah.
So about one skip.
Okay.
Which VE6CQ, that's a guy who is right on the Eastern Canadian Rockies. He's got an amp and a beam, and I can hear him about 50% of the time.
Okay.
Because either A, he's skipping right over my head, or he's coming up short.
Okay. I always think of the term of movies, but you've seen I Am Legend?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how he set up he's like, hey, I'll be on this radio at noon every day. Would that be a better way? Because what I'm kind of reading between the lines here is reliable's kind of with quotation marks around it. So
yes,
either have a set signal or a set day or a set time to try to contact. And if you don't make contact for a day or two, it's not the end of the world.
Right. Absolutely. Now, the nice thing about ham radio is the reliable communication is the 100 other people who are on the frequencies at any given point that can relay the message.
Right.
So worst case scenario, you are across the globe.
Okay.
I mean, that's there's no other way to put it.
Right.
Worst case scenario, some way, somehow, I can get my signal from here over to Israel or Slovenia or Italy, one way or the other. It may take a day or two, but we can make it happen. Now, this right here, local, line of sight communication, you're probably countywide.
Okay.
That's easy. You can do that all day. But HF, it all depends on where you're at in the frequency and what type of antennas you have.
Okay.
So, some are 800 miles, some are 1,200 miles, and some are I can get a guy in California or New York.
Okay.
So,
Cabot says, where do you place GMRS in general preparedness radio?
I have my GMRS license. That I got that before my ham radio license.
So it's a good
30
gateway drug?
It's $35, and you don't have to take a test on it.
Okay.
So I would tell everybody at least go get your GMRS. If you like GMRS, get into ham radio.
Oh,
because we can play with more power, and we can play with more things.
So it's a good way to get your feet wet, or to at least get interested. And then if you do buy yourself a good set of GMRS, what's a good use case scenario for them going forward? You like road trip comms between a couple vehicles or something?
Yeah. Or I have these right here. These are GMRS FRS. Those are the kids' radios.
Okay.
They actually are on it all the time. Because I have my GMRS license, they are allowed to go on GMRS frequencies if they identify themselves. We're still working on that, but if they identify themselves with the call sign, they're good to go.
Okay.
So, yes, GMRS is one call sign for the entire family. So, Hippocrates Garden has that.
Okay, throw that up there. That's cool. So once you have it, it covers your whole
immediate family under the household. I do not know about extended family. There's some stuff that you can get or not, that
gray areas.
Says yes and some no. So
okay. What about software-defined radio? Where does that fit into a preparedness plan?
It is great for a base station because you can see who is where. Or I have a software-defined radio. I have a ICOM IC7610, so that is an actual software-designed ham radio.
Okay.
It's sitting up here. I've posted pictures of that before. I can take another one real quick and send it to you. But that's so this is my radio that I have here.
And what's the advantage of that? Or where does it kind of fit into things?
When I turn this thing on, it gives me, well, here, I'll just take a picture with it turned on. That's it on.
Okay, I'll bring it up here, guys, so you can see it. There you go. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. There we go. Sorry, guys. There you go. So it has a waterfall built in. Okay.
Yes, so that has the waterfall built into it. It also allows me to listen on two different antennas at the same time. So I can listen on a vertical antenna and a horizontal antenna.
Okay.
Or I can transmit on a vertical antenna and listen on a horizontal, or vice versa.
Oh, very cool.
So it has diversity receive in it. It's quite nice. I like it. It's not a budget friendly radio. I'll put it that way. That one, software defined radios. If you want a budget friendly, you're looking at like a Zygo G90.
Okay.
Those are about $400. That ICOM right there. Your next one up would probably be about $1,200, and that is an ICOM 7300. And then your step up from that is going to be the IC 7610, which is what I have, and that's about $3,500.
Ooh, okay.
And then your top of the line is a 7851, and that is 14 grand.
Wow. So can you still use an SDR if the grid is down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is
So-
direct. It's direct sampling. So
Okay.
it's not pulling in anything off the internet. It's not even hooked to my network.
Okay.
It's pulling in what it hears off of the antenna throughout the entire spectrum. So I can move it wherever I want, and it will just move the signal and tell me what signal it's on.
So
what
it's
frequency
basically
it's
a
on.
pure digital radio then, is it?
Yeah, pretty
Like-
much.
Okay. So, and you can kind of change what shows up on the screen and that sort of thing as well?
Yep. I can either have the waterfall on it, or I can have a big giant meter on it, or
Kind of reminds me of, say, a modern console in a vehicle as opposed to your old knob radio, you know?
yes, absolutely.
That
That's
I
the
never
easiest way to
got
put
that. I couldn't figure out for the longest time why you wanted a software defined radio, because I was thinking it'd be no good for like grid down stuff, but that makes okay, now I understand.
Yeah, so I mean, I can look at it. I can flip around in all the different bands, and I can see the entire 20-meter band, and go, okay, I don't see anybody on there. Nope.
Oh.
Well, I'm not going to waste my time trying to make a contact.
Yeah.
But if
and
I go to
there's-
15 and it's packed, then I'm going to jump on there and try and find somebody.
Right. So that saves time too, because normally
Yeah.
you would hop on to say 20-meter and you would dial through, check each signal or
Yep.
whatever you call that as you go along.
Yeah, check
Whereas
each kilohertz, roll through
Right.
it.
So in
Yep.
here, you would just, so for instance, say right there in that little peak, say there was a line there, you'd be like, oh,
Yep.
I might be able to make a contact there. So it could save you immense amounts of time too, hey?
Absolutely. And it'll tell me
Huh.
or how busy it is. Maybe I don't stick on 20 meters. Maybe I move to 40 or 15.
Could also
because
tell
there's
you
less
what bands
people.
are active too, right? Or open.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I thought this was kind of a cute little question. What do people typically talk about on ham radio from Know Your Joe?
What age do we want to know? Because there is a colonoscopy net.
I understand. I think yeah.
It's anything. It's guys are asking questions, looking for help, checking in with their buddies, see what the weather's like, or they're trying to make a bunch of contacts with a bunch of people. The majority of it, it depends on what band you're on, but I would say the majority of it is guys just wanting to make contacts.
Yeah, it's just
If
like the old CB. If you've ever listened to people on CB, it's just people shooting the shit, right?
Yeah. That is more, people shooting the shit is more 80 and 75 meters.
Okay.
Along with some of 40. There's a lot of nets on 40. 20 is more of a, we want to make parks on the air contacts, or soda on the air, iota on the air, which is islands on the air. Or just guys over in Europe wanting to talk to somebody over here in the United States.
Okay.
So,
does the licensee still get contact points, Nate, when a non-licensee makes a contact? Like it?
yes, because they're using the club call.
Okay.
So basically anything that is made. So like if Aaron were to come down here and say, we operate under my call sign.
Okay.
Everything is going to be logged under my call sign, but I'll put in the note that it was her doing it. Like I've done that with my daughter, my oldest.
Yep.
She's come down here and she's been like, can I talk on the radio? Like,
Aww.
okay. So I'll find her a Parks on the Air, and I'll write it out for her on a little sheet of paper, exactly what to say, and I'll point to it as we progress, through the contact, but 9 times out of 10, people want to talk to you if you don't have your license, if you're using somebody else's call sign and you're a little kid.
Okay. Do you
So,
still do are they QSL cards? Is that what they're called? Or
Yeah.
what are
I
you guys
have,
still send them out in the mail?
I just got a batch of these in.
Oh, that's cool. Is that from Carlos?
That's Carlos.
Okay.
So that's,
That's cool.
that's from him.
So people, it is still a thing then, is it?
It is very much a thing. Aaron and I need to get them printed out. I have some from my old call sign.
Okay.
When I was WN9TCH, Whiskey Nate 9 Tango Charlie Hotel, Two Chicks Homestead. So,
do we? Moon Bear was talking about wanting to get some local help. Do we know anyone in the Dallas Fort Worth area that is into ham? And if you don't, Nate, somebody out there might. But
Dallas area, talk to Ham Radio 2.0.
Okay.
Is down in that area. He's got a YouTube channel. I want to say he's down in the Dallas area.
Okay.
I would follow him a little bit, and he's got a Discord as well.
Okay.
Ham Radio Crash Course. I keep going back to them because they are all over the country.
Okay.
I would join that Discord and get in there, hang out with them, get to know them. Because if you go in there and you ask a million questions, you're going to have 100 guys coming back with you with answers within like 5 minutes.
So they're helpful then.
Yeah, absolutely. Get into either one of those 2 Discord groups and go from there.
Okay.
So Ham Radio 2.0, he has a YouTube as well, and Ham Radio Crash Course. So
link for a GMRS license.
It's the FCC you need to go talk to. I do not have it off the top of my head.
I think I just found it. That's what I was typing away here for people. Here. There you go.
Oh, you got it already? Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at it while I was trying to be ahead of us here and make it sound like I know what I'm doing, Yeah. So this is the FAQ on how to, where to, that sort of thing. So that was I know you're Joe, for anybody on audio was looking for a link to for the GMRS license.
Yep.
Ross wants to know, any good software for logging contacts?
Yes, there are 2 of them.
Oh.
One of them is when you are a ham, you will get what's known as the Facebook of Ham Radio. That's QRZ.
Okay.
They make a profile for you and you need to go in and claim it.
Right.
And they give you a logbook right off the bat.
Okay.
So I will go, if I can, pull mine up. Oh,
and I see we have a new member in the Ham Radio Telegram group too, Borage. So it's good to have you. Yeah, I like that.
Let me see if I can even get in. It's under a different one. Give me a second. I can get into mine because I can show the log on that at least.
Okay.
There it is.
Cabot says the site is a pain. Not a Rubicon on YouTube has good info on submitting.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not a Rubicon is GMRS only though.
Okay. That's cool.
He does not do much with ham radio.
Okay.
He doesn't particularly like ham radio, but he sees the use case of ham radio.
Sure.
Yes, GMRS license is a pain, but you'll have your license within 48 hours after paying your fee.
Okay.
It's $35. It's 10 years, and there is no test. Yes, he is funny. I'll give him that. All right.
You want me to bring up your stream?
Yeah, bring up my screen. So this is my logbook. So you can see I have recently 2 contacts in Russia. They're not confirmed. These yellow stars are confirmed. There
What does
are
what does that mean, Nate? Confirmed.
the other person logged the exact same information as I did.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Here's my 10-meter contact to Scotland that I did a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
To a doctor of all things.
yeah, yeah.
Like
There's Carlos, KD90LN. I have a ton of them in here. Here's a Canada, Victor Echo 2, Papa Echo Alpha Charlie Echo.
Is that Quebec by chance?
Probably. It's VE2 piece. I don't know.
Jean Charon.
But yeah, this is my logbook. You can see the countries that I've worked. So I got Puerto Rico, Antigua, Canary Islands, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, Brazil, Cape Verde, Cayman Islands. There's another Canada, VE3. Mexico on 10 meters. There's Slovenia, Sierra 58 November. That is other side of Italy.
That's cool.
And you guys, my old logbook has him in here, S51DX, because I posted I was listening to him earlier. But I think he might be one of my originals. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, S57. So there's his brother on the bottom.
In Slovenia.
In Slovenia, S57 and S51DX are both brothers.
Okay. And you've talked to both of them.
Yep, I have talked to both of them. There is a sister who I do not have in my log yet, but she is on maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay.
So she's the one that I've been looking for because I want all 3 of them.
That's funny. It's like collecting baseball cards, you know?
It is. And there's Switzerland.
Wow.
Right there. I do have a maritime mobile in here somewhere. I don't know if it's... Let me see. There's Roswell.
Is there a special call sign for that or not? Where is that?
No, I just saw it. Hold on. Sorry.
Russia, Turks and Caicos or whatever islands there.
Right there. Where is that previous page? Oh, that's that's why. I'm looking for. There's Roswell.
Okay.
Right there. So W5 RKA was in Roswell, New Mexico when I talked to him.
Is he a mobile dude or is that his?
I don't know. It could be a 5 call for him.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what a log looks like. This is QRZ. They give you a free one that you can make all your contacts with. I do have right here is my daughter's first contact to Whiskey 8 Lima Tango Radio.
How far is that?
I'd have to look it up, but an 8 call, so that's probably Ohio or Michigan. And then you'll see right above that, Whiskey 8 Foxtrot November Golf.
Jameson?
See if you get that call sign.
Wait, FNG. Not
FNG?
really. Yeah, FNG.
Fucking new guy.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That's cool.
Yeah, and then this is the one that I had to log right here on 60 meters. This is my only 60 meter contact that I did. Oh. I had to log my antenna, log the frequency that I was on, and log the output or the power that I was running.
How come?
You have to do that on 60 meters.
Oh. That's just a rule or is there a reason for it?
It is it's a rule for 60 meters itself that you have to
Okay.
do that. Your other one that you want for a log is
MRS.
this.
Every day's a field day. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an app, is it, or a program?
It's a program. It's an app for iPad, Windows, or Linux.
Okay.
This thing is worth its weight in gold. I love this app. This is all I use. Super simple, and it gives you a map when you're done.
That's cool.
So, and it also does parks on the air.
So can you use a program like this to then export all of these contacts back to the other program?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way I used to have it set up, I would export into QRZ or QRZ, and then it would automatically do Logbook of the World, which is ARRL's logbook.
Okay.
Okay. I will tell you, Logbook of the World is awesome because everybody in the world uses it. But the catch is you submit an email, they mail you a postcard. You have 7 days from the day they mail the postcard to log in with that postcard. So, like, if your mail's late, you can't log in with it and set up your account.
Okay.
It's between 3 and 7 days from the time they mail it out. That code on the postcard expires.
Well, that wouldn't work in Canada, almost guaranteed.
Yeah,
our mail's
absolutely.
damn slow, you know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a pain in the butt. I used to have it under my old call sign. I jumped through all the hoops to do it, and it took 2 weeks to get it set up.
Got one more question for you, Nate.
Yep.
Cabot says, how many different on-the-air programs? I've seen parks, maybe museum. What else?
Ones that I can think of. You have battleships on the air, parks on the air. I might have seen porta potties on the air. Islands on the air, summits on the air. I think that's really about it.
And this is where somebody physically goes to a national park or a mountain summit or something like that, and then makes contacts from there to other people?
Correct.
And those people who are making contacts get to check that one park off or something? Is that the idea?
Yep. So they get points for it, and they only have to make, if they hike the mountain, they only have to get 4 contacts.
Okay.
And then they can come back down. I am yet, and I don't know if this is the case, so I'm going to look at this real quick. But yeah, you can go on whatever hikes you want and climb up, and they will have like points for the ascent. And some are like drive up, and some are Mount Everest.
Okay.
So I'm looking.
Has anybody taken a ham radio up to the top of Mount Everest?
That's literally what I'm looking up right now.
Okay. I was wondering that as well, because and while you're doing that, if you can, what are the points good for?
It's bragging rights.
Okay.
Really. I mean, that's
so it's a hobby then.
Right. Summits on the air, Mount Everest, radio, contacts. So far it's not coming up.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
So my guess is nobody has activated Mount Everest yet.
Okay. So
which is not surprising.
I have an idea for your next appearance, since it seems like whenever you come on, there's a literal metric shit ton. It's unreal how many questions there are for ham radio. So what I'm thinking is maybe we collect up a whole bunch of questions and we do like a Q&A session with you or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would work. I mean, you're a resident ham expert, so Nate keeps
Right,
asking if I'm
absolutely.
going to start an expert council or something. So, well, I don't know. Who knows what I kind of like the idea of maybe doing some roundtable discussion. I don't know. Haven't really decided yet, but that'll be, yeah, I think that's what we should do next time, Nate. We'll collect
Yeah,
questions for a couple of weeks and then
absolutely.
we'll have you on again. Somebody
Yeah,
said,
no,
yeah.
no.
No, I'm good.
Fat,
I don't want to be
fat,
one of them guys that's left on the side of the, yeah.
fat guy probably won't even make it to base camp.
Oh,
I'll
that's
be
what I was
honest right there. So Hippocrates Garden has in there the Maritime Mobile Service Net.
Okay.
That is 24/7, 365. But if they are not transmitting, they don't own the frequency. Okay.
So anybody can use it?
Yes, but they will get all over you. So a
Oh.
lot of people have just moved on. It is 14.3 is the Maritime Mobile Service Net.
Okay.
Whatever you do, stay away from that frequency unless you need to use it to make a contact. If it's an emergency, by all means use it because people are listening to it. So 14.3 is a good starter if you're in trouble and you have ham radio.
Because
now you
I
better be
assume the
damn.
Coast Guard listens to it all the time. Is that the idea?
Yeah, well, there's a guy up in Minnesota who listens to it.
Okay.
That runs the net. Your other one is going to be the Hurricane Watch Net, which is 14.325, I think.
Okay.
I'd have to go look it up. And 7.168.
Okay.
Those activate and they run while we have hurricane watches up. Hurricane watches and warnings.
And there's somebody on there 24/7 whenever
There are hundreds of people on there 24/7.
Okay. So you're going to
And
get, if you're in an emergency, you're going to get a contact.
Right. And they're looking to talk to people down in Bahamas or Puerto Rico or Cuba to get reports as the storm moves through.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's
Kinda
really cool to listen to.
I'll have to next time I'll have to get it up and do that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can listen to this stuff on that web SDR.
That's what I was thinking, at least to get me started anyway. And then this winter we'll get everything hooked up here. So
yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Nate.
For me, those web SDRs when I first started really helped me. I know it's annoying to listen to sometimes, but it helped me with procedure as I'm making the contact.
That's what I was wondering. Sure.
So it's actually hearing the contact being made and what steps are next. So like somebody rattles off their call sign, be it NA9TE, CQ 20 meters, looking for contacts, and somebody comes back, KI6NAZ. And I only hear the KI6. So then I go KI6, come back, and he'd give his full call sign. And then I would acknowledge him, give him his signal report, and then in return, he would give me my signal report.
And so that would be because one thing I hear from a lot of people is they're nervous about making their first contacts or nervous about speaking out. So it'll help you speak the language, right?
Yep, I still am. I still have mic fright.
Well, it makes sense though, because it's a whole different world that if you've never been in, you might not know how to do it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see that in there. The Elmer is your most important person, which is why I get so. I'm very open. If anybody has any questions ever, come ask, because I want to teach you this stuff. I want to help you out. I want to get more people licensed, and I want to get more people operating legally, because that's more fun for me to make contacts down the road.
Sure.
And that ensures the FCC is not going to sell off our frequencies.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, all you have to do is look in the 220 megahertz, and you'll see there's a little tiny split, and that split is, where's that at? Actually, it's not even on my band chart, but it's right in the middle of the 220 band. They sold that off to FedEx.
Really?
So FedEx bought all the frequencies in half that band.
Huh. Just because, well, for whatever reason,
For all their trucks.
Yep. So now nobody's allowed to broadcast or not broadcast, but make contacts on that. Okay.
Yep.
Huh. So you said, Nate, then you're approachable and you want to answer people's questions. How do people find you if they want to follow up with you afterwards?
So the easiest place to find me is in the Telegram group, both of them. Or you can email us at info@twochickshomestead.com. That would be the next one. You can find Aaron and I pretty much everywhere. We're on all the stuff. Look up Two Chicks Homestead on pretty much anything. There are a couple of us, but you'll see our logo. So our logo is really easy. It looks like that.
The one on the right's the chick with the beard.
Yep. So, but it's really easy to find. We are on NOSTR. We're on Facebook, Telegram. Aaron's got a TikTok up. I have a couple TikToks. But yeah, best place is definitely a Telegram or email. And then if you're getting really interested in ham radio, get licensed. Let's see if we can make contact.
That's what I'm going to do at some point with you.
Yep.
We'll get there.
So,
right before we close up here, I'm going to share. Somebody just said they couldn't find. Who said that? Ed Silo's on here too. Who's looking for? Somebody's looking for the ham radio group again. I'm going to throw that up again here for you. Hippocrates. There it is. It doesn't show up. It's a private group, like the workshop.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So the workshop Telegram group has a real fancy URL. It's like Toolman Tim's Workshop or something. It's easy to read. This one's a private group. Really, and the funny thing is, nothing really changes anymore because they all work basically the same. But anyway, so click that link, and then you have to submit a credit card. It's like a $300 payment. No, I'm just kidding. You're good. You just click join, and there you go. I think we've added 3 members to the ham radio group tonight, and a couple to the main group too. So, but yeah, thanks, man. I always appreciate you. We seem to be kind of a running thing where you just come on and shoot the shit about ham, but it's something you're passionate about and something that everyone else seems to. Every time we do a ham episode, people are all over it. So there's
absolutely. And I will say, watch out next weekend. Join us on social media.
Yes,
we will post the frequencies that we are operating.
Ooh.
So if you go on the SDRs, you may hear us. And we'll also be doing a live stream for as long as I can handle it. So we may be going from approximately 12:30 to 12 o'clock the next day. So,
yes, sir.
I mean, we may go the full 24 hours. We may get some sleep. There may be some adult things going on later in the evening, so we may pause it for that. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend. So watch out for live streams and see if you can catch us on the air. All right.
Nice. Well, thanks, Nate. If you want to hang in the back for a sec, I'll close up and be right back with you. Well, guys, I don't know. I don't think there's any end to how many ham shows we could do. Every single time Nate comes on, there's a ton of questions. We had a great sized crowd. I think we topped out at 16 or 17 live viewers tonight. So that was awesome. Thanks, guys. Nate and Aaron, we've actually hung out in real life. I need to do it again. But, we are not just imaginary internet friends. We're, IRL friends too. And they really mean it when they say they're going to end up, they'll help you in any way, shape, or form when it comes to ham or any of that stuff. So check them out. I also, just one more plug for them. I threw their Etsy link discount code in the description tonight. So give them some support, guys. We're creating that circular agorist economy within all of these extended economies. And that's how we do it, is by spending money with businesses and people we trust and know. So with that, guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.